one.
But I told her I'd be home by 7.
And she has a crown.
So here we go. No, 5,000 minutes. Now that Amy's not the chair.
Stars are bigger than your hand. And they're made out of diamonds. There's giant rubies underground. It's crazy. Let's do it.
It is our time.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the February 18th, 2025 meeting of the Logan City Council. Our opening ceremony this evening is our wonderful Mayor Danes.
And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I'll give a prayer for my opening ceremony. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father in heaven, as we begin this City Council meeting this evening, we are truly grateful for this beautiful valley in which we live. We're thankful for our peace and our safety and for the many good things of life which we enjoy. Please bless us tonight with the spirit of peace and cooperation, with a spirit of understanding for one another, and help us all to use good judgment to make the best decisions that we can. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mayor Danes. The next item on our agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from our last meeting and the approval of the agenda for this evening.
I will move acceptance of the minutes and tonight's agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, well, that carries. Our 2025 regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30. Our next meeting will be March 4th, 2025. We come now to the time on our agenda where we allow comments from the public on items that are not otherwise on the agenda. So if you have something you would like to say that is related to another topic, we welcome you to the podium. Please take 3 minutes or less. And I forgot to say, state your name.
Oh, my name is Gail Hansen, thank you. I don't believe that the trees along Canyon Road are
Yes, they
on-
are.
Okay, never mind.
That's on there. Anybody else? Seeing no one, bring it back to the council, and we will move now to the mayor and staff report.
Thank you very much. The first item is, just for everyone's information, an update on the first dam tank transmission line alignment. And again, I just have prepared a statement, and I'll read that to everyone, and then it will be posted later on for everyone's reference. So since we discussed the project last, we've contracted with Whitaker Construction as the general contractor for the transmission line and Canyon Road improvements. Whitaker is a highly regarded heavy construction contractor in our region with many successful projects of this type. As you know, JUB engineers evaluated 7 possible alignments for the transmission line based on specific metrics. We had a well-attended public information meeting on December 5th where we collected lots of comments from the public and answered many questions. In the weeks since, we've received and considered additional comments both in support of the project and expressing concern about specific aspects of the project, and have considered any reasonable suggestions for viability. We've also been waiting for the final geotechnical report, which is now complete. We sincerely appreciate the public engagement and involvement. We've used the process described to ensure we make the best possible decision for the overall community. That takes into account both design, cost, and constructability. Each alternate alignment or modification considered comes with significant cost and additional disruption to more homes and properties. The least expensive alternative to the Canyon Road route would impact 90 additional properties and cost an extra $2.4 million just for the pipe and installation. With the added right-of-way purchases required and additional utility relocations for the longer route, it could easily double that cost. As most citizens are aware, water rates have already increased as we work to upgrade aging water infrastructure. To put it in context, an additional $4.8 million would require at least a 2.5% water rate increase for every household in the city over the 20-year life of the bond, all to save 17 trees that are not in the best of health and are likely nearing the end of their life. With this project, we also have a significant opportunity to improve the overall safety, function, and beauty of the entire Canyon Road corridor for a wide cross-section of users. This corridor is listed in the Transportation Master Plan as a collector road with an 80-foot wide right-of-way. This project would narrow the planned road width, which will slow traffic. It could implement long-planned bike and pedestrian connectivity and potentially plant over 200 new trees, investing in the future and long-term beauty of this area. As with all large projects, these decisions come with trade-offs and are not always popular or preferred by everyone. As mayor, my job is to make the decision that is best for the entire community. With this additional information, we've confirmed the recommended alignment for the water transmission line along the north side of Canyon Road is the most economical and beneficial for the entire community. Even though this pipeline alignment requires the removal of a widely discussed ash trees along Canyon Road, I believe this is the best decision going forward. As we continue the design of the pipeline, it is our intent to work through the Wilson Neighborhood Council on how the roadway will be put back together, which is scheduled for 2026, including potential curb and gutter, sidewalk or trail options, and park strips with trees. You as council members have already appropriated $20 million towards this significant and necessary infrastructure project. Sometime in the coming weeks, as we finalize more design details, we'll be coming to you with a budget to complete the project based on the decision I've outlined tonight. At that time, following our typical budgetary process, we will hold a public hearing on the budget to allow for input from citizens. Thank you to our residents for their engagement, and to you, the City Council members, for your substantial investment of time and energy as you've done your own homework and talked with citizens extensively about the project. I'm asking tonight for your head nod as we continue with the selected alignment for the transmission line and design of the roadway improvements so that Public Works can begin preparing the budget request for a future City Council agenda. Following this meeting, either tonight or tomorrow morning, this update, an addendum to the alignment memo, and the new geotechnical report will all be posted to the project website to join the previously released alignment memo and other project documents. So again, just to make sure we're proceeding in the right direction with preparing a budget for this alignment, again, I just ask a kind of a head nod from the City Council that we're moving in the right direction, and that again, we'll have this on a future agenda and have you officially consider it and allow for public comment at that time.
So in order to most efficiently acquire that head nod, should we do it person by person? How would you prefer?
Again, it's just kind of general, so if we have the direction.
Will we just have comments from?
Sure.
Mike, you want to start?
Yeah, give us a direction.
Not really, but.
Well, my property is directly affected by this, so I'm not sure how much comment I should have, so I'm thinking about it. Maybe I should discuss it with Craig, because my family owns at least 5% of the property that will be impacted by this, so.
So
if
you
not,
are,
if not more.
you would not like to move forward to a budget? You would, you don't?
No,
Maybe you just abstain
I'm just
from
gonna,
the
I'm just gonna
head nod at this
abstain
point.
because it does personally affect me, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Amy?
This is like one of those really
Yeah.
difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
I really wish we could have figured out a way to maneuver this so that we did not have to destroy
I know.
trees. I've had comments from people too that are not willing to see their personal expenses rise. And so I will trust that this is the most fiscally wise way to do it. I will hope we continue, maybe look to see if there's any additional way to preserve any of those trees, but yeah, let's look at a budget.
Right, again, that will be the official vote with the public hearing.
Right. Mike, where are you on this?
I mean, I think I agree with Amy that it's not been an easy decision or discussion. I know there's been a lot of time that we've all put into this and a lot of effort. And I know a lot of people feel like they haven't been heard. And I know that I've tried really, really hard to listen to people and to empathize and understand with where they're coming from. It's a hard decision, and there's not like an easy answer, but I do think when I look at it from my perspective, one, keeping costs low for citizens, I think is very, very important. It's one of the reasons I ran for council, and I think you guys all get a little annoyed at me constantly complaining about $3 here and $5 there for residents, but I think it really matters for a lot of our residents to make sure that we're keeping our costs low. And on the other side of it, it's been on the plan for a long time to have better bike and pedestrian infrastructure along this corridor. It's been on state and county plans for a decade or more. And like Amy, if there's a way to, I know there's some possibility as once we're in there that a couple of the trees might possibly be able to stay, and obviously if we can, I think that's an option, but I also think moving forward is what we need to do at this point, even though it's not the easy decision.
I will never scoff at you talking about dollars, ever. I understand where you're coming from, so.
And I would have to agree with both Mike and Amy that this has not been easy. I do, however, believe that we did have impacts in our discussions with the various members of the public and with our staff, that this is not the 80-foot roadway that was initially planned. This will remain the same size that it is today. It will have a big pipe under part of it, but, and I think that pipe and that infrastructure is critically important for our residents, new, old, future, and today, both for fire suppression. I would hate for us not to have done something that would help prevent a fire like was in Los Angeles. West side, east side, island, wherever it might occur. I know that this is not a preference for many people. I hope that we can do a job in the long run that will make you all proud of the outcome. And I would like us to move toward the budget stage so that we have some idea of our costs and where we are going forward.
And again, I know people have felt like they haven't been heard, but again, we looked at 7 alternatives. We honestly looked at what are the options for going a different way? Is there a compromise position? But you have to weigh the cost and the benefits to the overall citizenry. And again, one of the hard decisions I've had to make as mayor. So, but thank you. We'll proceed with the budget. Encourage people to watch for future agenda items when they'll be able to comment on that budget. So thank you for your support, and we'll direct the Public Works Department to continue with that design. And again, as we promised, we will, as we approach the surface design, the intent is to involve the Wilson Neighborhood Committee in input as those decisions are made. So thank you. Item 6B is just to let people know that on Saturday, February 22nd, the landfill and the transfer station will be closed. UDOT will be doing some work on SR 30, just as part of that construction project that will require that access to be closed and water to be off. So just trying to get the word out to the public that if that's the day you are planning to go to the landfill, reschedule that. It will be closed all day on Saturday, February 22nd. And with that, that concludes my portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Dane. On council business, I usually give a planning commission update, and the only item that was on planning commission last week was a review of the tank design and location for this large water tank project. It was approved as a conditional use permit by planning commission. And so the tank project, the actual construction of the tank on the location on former USU property will move ahead. There was some comment that the university had considered that location for a potential solar site. So there may be some opportunity for the roof of the tanks to be used for that purpose. But they're very careful not to make it visible to surrounding residents. So that's something, that was just an off conversation about the project itself, but not about the approval. We'll move now to board and committee reports. Tonight we'll hear from Vice Chair Johnson, and we will also hear from Amy. Councilmember Lopez has been excused. He is at a conference and unable to call in. So we'll grab him next time. Amy, you want to go first?
Sure. So Parks and Recs has not met since last time we reported on this. We do have a meeting this Thursday morning at 9:30 at the Rec Center if people are interested in attending that. Those are open meetings. The library usually would have met last night, but because of the holiday they didn't. But I don't believe we reported on January's meeting. So just a quick update there. We did significant things that came out of that. There are unfortunately still some construction-related issues that are lingering, and staff and the contractor are working on rectifying those, things like blinds and leaks and air conditioning and some rather frustrating things, but hopefully those will all be resolved since we're coming up when is the year? When did it open?
March,
yeah.
like the first week of March.
Yeah. So
So we have to have those issues done before a year, right?
Right, but for instance, the AC issues, we haven't even accepted that, so the warranty hasn't really started ticking on that particular one. That's a big one, but we're working to get that resolved, so.
And just, we talked about the hoopla. I know Mike is going to roll his eyes at this, but again, looked at the budget for that, and I just want to, I'll just read a little bit of what the library staff's report is, that to make access to Hoopla Digital more fair and sustainable for all patrons, Logan Library will reduce the monthly borrowing limit from 5 to 2 items per cardholder effective February 1st. The daily spending cap will remain in place. We're thrilled so many patrons value digital resources, but digital content is significantly more expensive and restricted than physical materials. Hoopla operates on a pay-per-use model with costs ranging from 65 cents to $3.49 per borrow, averaging $2.27. These fees are deducted from the library's daily limit the instant a person presses borrow, whether or not the borrowed item is fully used. So the borrowing limit was reduced from 10 to 5 on January 1st, but now we're finding that since that resets, people often are going on at like 12:01 to make sure that they're getting their item, leaving many patrons who have been unable to borrow their items. So we're hoping that by reducing the borrowing item to 2, we can aim to ensure access to Hoopla for as many patrons as possible throughout each day. So for those of you who are using Hoopla, to help us be able to continue to provide that, please only borrow items that you plan to use. We do pay for each borrow, even if it is unused, and there's perception that there are some people who are jumping on just to borrow, but then aren't actually reading or utilizing the item or listening to the audiobook. Consider other resources. We do have physical copies of many of the items, which we've already paid for. And the Libby app digital items are also a set price, so borrowing them doesn't incur any additional cost for the library. So if you're open to those, you can talk to the librarians about that too, just to see what other recommended print or digital alternatives exist. So probably the biggest update from the library on that part.
And I do think it's a good thing.
Thank you.
It is more fair.
Yeah, it is. So, but the next library meeting will be February 24th at the library at 5:30 in the Aspen room. Our public arts meeting was not held this month. Adams, I did have a chance to meet with the Adams board to introduce myself and to learn about what was happening there. We did meet, primarily spent a lot of time talking about the new bike lane plan for 500 North. That will be shared with the neighborhood on April 16th at their next community-wide meeting, which is going to be at 7 p.m. at Adams Elementary, again on April 16th. And just a reminder for people in general, UDOT will be holding a meeting on the 25th at 4:30 at Mount Logan Middle School to talk about changes related to mobility on 8991 on Main Street.
Between the Y and 2200 North.
Yeah, so
That's from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m.
correct. So
at Mount Logan Middle School.
that borders Adams. That's
Yeah.
Adams is encouraging their residents to come and attend that. So
Excellent.
so that's what I got.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm really, really tired. So I missed, my son got married this weekend. I didn't get home till late last night, and
All that stuff is stressful.
it's stressful.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's happy stressful, but
Happy
it's still
stress-
stressful.
Except if you're flying to Portland in the snowstorm, where nobody in Portland knows how to deal with snow. They should all move to Logan.
No, they shouldn't.
And the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
And the snow's coming down.
Oh, actually, one other thing. Homeless Council, there are several bills related to homelessness that we're tracking just to make sure that there's no negative impact, either budgetarily for our city, but also for those that we're serving through places like the Warming Center and Bear River Association of Governments.
Thanks for following that.
You want me to go? Yep. It was a busy month for January. The audit committee met with our illustrious finance department, and they are working on selecting a company to audit us. So we're working through that. They have a couple proposals. One we've made suggestions, but it's not been officially selected. BPAC met. I attended virtually. They mostly just planned Bike Week, which is coming up, I believe, May 11th. So they're just working on Bike Week plans and stations and passports and things like that. And they did a little bit of discussion on bylaws that they've been discussing for months. So hopefully they can make some progress on bylaws here soon too. RESAB met last Thursday, and Jeannie joined with me as we met with RESAB last week, and we had a really good discussion about the bylaws of RESAB. We've had some discussions with the chair of RESAB and the vice chair over the last couple weeks about RESAB and how their bylaws have never actually been approved by the city council since they were founded in 2009. So they have bylaws, but their only guiding document is from almost 20 years ago. So we are working through some bylaw changes with them. We went through a bunch of the options. They'll vote on that next month. Hopefully all those changes are approved, and then hopefully it'll be on our agenda sometime in April to actually get them some guidelines and direction, hopefully clarify some of the issues that we've had in the past couple weeks. So that was a really good discussion. I think we made good progress with it. And then other meetings I attended, there was an Ellis neighborhood meeting, which was fantastic. I just went over some updates and had opportunities to meet with staff at that one. Wilson neighborhood met. I believe all of you were there. Mm-hmm. I say you weren't there. But it was their meeting for their neighborhood plan, and then they had some updates for the neighborhood. So they met was it 2 weeks ago? And then Woodruff met the same week. It was a busy week of neighborhood meetings, and they had their meeting with Willow Lakes to discuss their PDO, and that went well. And so I don't know where the next process is with that, but I guess that kind of checks off their pre-planning with the PDO, and it should come back to us at some point in the next few months. Is that correct? Mike's nodding at me.
It goes back to planning commission
Well,
first.
planning commission, and then, yeah, it'll hit them in between. And then Adams neighborhood met the same night as Wilson, and I snuck over and popped in for a few minutes just to talk about the bike lane discussion. It sounds like Public Works has made really good progress on that. They've met with the school district, and the school district seems pretty supportive and happy with the idea. And then, have we met with Transit, with Connect yet?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, but Public Works is working on that, and Adams neighborhood seemed pretty happy with it for the most part. So that was a good meeting. And then I've been attending LPC's meetings every week, which have been
Tell them
very
what
informative.
LPC is.
LPC, I should look up what it is. It's the Legislative Policy Committee.
Right.
And so that meets
You
with,
just have a fire hose like right over your.
it's literally how it goes.
It's like crazy.
It's like weekly updates on bills in the state legislature, and then meeting with the Utah League and cities and towns about it. And yes, it literally feels like Niagara Falls dumping on my face because I have no idea what a lot of it is, but I'm trying to learn quickly.
There's just a vast number of bills that affect cities in one way or the other.
This year?
Well, that's the total number of
right,
bills. But, so the Utah League of Cities and Towns, of which every city and town in the whole state is a member, again, they have a staff that vet these bills, look through them, make us aware of issues that could impact us, provide feedback to legislators. They try and negotiate with legislators to get bills to better reflect, practice and what works. And occasionally they call out an action alert, and we all call our senators and representatives and say, please vote no on this. It would impact us in this way. So, or thank you for supporting this. We appreciate your support. So,
I think a really good example of that was when they began the discussion about accessory dwelling units.
Yeah.
Because the original bill was quite different than the one that was passed, and in part that was due to the action of cities and towns throughout the state talking to their representatives.
yeah, helping them understand the lived experience of cities versus what they thought it might be.
The academic experience of being on the
Weighing in
floor.
on like those homeless issues, like Salt Lake has very different concerns, so legislation is frequently drafted based on
Their
what the
concerns.
experience of the legislator's district is, and so having Utah League is really helpful.
It's very
to help get
helpful.
news out, but it's also, I think, our responsibility as council members to reach out. I've reached out to 2 people who have submitted bills just saying, hey, this could be an unintended consequence of what you're trying to fix there, could cause issues here, so. It's a lot. I'm glad
It's a lot.
I'm glad you took, I did that, for 4 years?
Yeah.
So thank you for being willing.
It's my first year, and it is a lot. So, but dive in and learn, so.
Thank you.
And then my last meeting I attended was Mark Anderson and I went to a discussion with Logan City Light and Power to discuss some local renewable energy generation options, local generation for that. And we had a really good meeting with them. We need to kind of follow up and see what we're doing next, but it was good to kind of see some options of what we could do for local power, especially renewable power, kind of coming off the tail of our natural gas discussions we had over the last 2 months. So that was a very good meeting, and hopefully we can keep moving forward on some of the options that we're discussing from there. So that was my month.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad to see you aren't just, letting grass grow under your feet.
There's no grass growing right now, it's too cold.
So I neglected to say that one of the things that might be of interest to people with respect to Planning Commission is the next meeting, they will be discussing 5 short-term rentals. So, and if they qualify, it's not a very big discussion.
But that's a lot.
That's a lot.
If they qualify, they can't really say no.
Right, but they did one, 2 weeks ago or a month ago, and now they've got 5, and it's like, I don't know whether it is new short-term rentals or whether people are realizing they really better be licensed.
Well, and there is state legislation that's pending that could have some significant impact on short-term rentals in
Right,
communities.
and that might be part of it as well. So, just so you're aware, you may want to check into that agenda a little bit. Thank you. Our next item, we have 4 public hearings this evening, and we have 1 continuation. So we will dive in with Mike Desmoni, consideration of a proposed resolution indicating an intent to adjust the municipal boundary between the city of Logan and Millville.
Okay, do you want me to just give you a quick
Please.
30-second summary? Which one's first, Millville?
Millville's first.
Okay. Okay, this is, what's going on here? Stupid computer updates. Resolution 2504, this is an intent to adjust the boundary between us and Millville. And just kind of to preface that, if this is part of the state process, we have to notify the world that we want to do this, we're willing to do it. And then what it does is it just tees up the regular public review process. So the next step for both of these 2 items, this one and the next one, is we will do a public notice jointly with Millville on this one, Italy on the next one, and then you at some point will see a formal ordinance that formally adopts that change. So this is down, here's the state highway, 1700 South, Global Property, it's owned by the Zollingers. There is an old right-of-way associated with a railroad spur through there that's been vacated. What they're trying to do is just adjust the municipal boundary to match property lines and then get it away from the building. So this is the green is the existing, and then the proposal is the red. So this just follows a property line and just makes it easier for them to manage as private property owners. So here's a copy of the plat, and be happy to answer any questions.
It's a very weird shape.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very unusual.
Say it makes more sense that it used to follow the railroad though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now they're trying to follow flats. Makes sense.
sort of. You wonder why the plat wasn't straight.
Wasn't straight.
Well, flattish.
Well, sort of.
But anyway, then that's all. So, any other questions, comments, outbursts?
I have an outburst.
This is a public hearing. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this, please come forward, state your name, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, bring it back to the council for a decision.
Just goes to show you how much power the railroad had.
Had?
Still has. Yeah, I take that back. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Mike, sorry.
I'll move we approve resolution 25-04.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Our next public hearing is a consideration of a boundary adjustment between us and Nibley City.
So is it not projecting onto the screens?
Nope. I had updated, so it doesn't do that anymore.
It's a new feature.
You can just imagine that there's a slide up there.
I can look at my laptop.
Oh,
I got it right here.
okay.
Yep.
I'm assuming there's someone in IT back there laughing at us. Resolution 25-06, the intent to adjust the boundary between us and Nibley. This is down towards 300 south, or 3,000 south, 3,200 south. It's about 5 acres. There's 3 parcels there. And the idea is just to move those 3 parcels into Nibley, move the line out to run along 8991. And the purpose is the owner who is buying or has bought 2 of those lots wants to develop a business on the 1 lot, and they need services, and Nibley obviously has services available, so. Happy answering questions.
Any further questions?
We worked on this 5 years ago.
I know. I'm the reason it didn't happen.
I don't know if you would take all the credit for that. So.
Yeah, I'll take it. I was taking blame, not credit. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak to this issue, please come to the podium, state your name, and take 3 minutes or less. Welcome.
Well, I'm BJ Smith. I'm one of the property owners to take the lead on this. I just thought I'd introduce myself. I own the farm area out there that I purchased from the other owners and operate Canyon Landscaping and would love to actually be in Logan City, but it's not really feasible from what we've seen in the master plan of the utility services to develop it, and appreciate the consideration. I know a lot of people in this room and have dealt with them in various capacities over the years, but appreciate your consideration, and that's all I have to say. We've got the expert right here.
Oh, thank you. I hope you signed in when you came in.
I didn't. I can before.
Would you, when you leave?
You bet.
Thank
you bet. Thank you.
Well, it's good to know that you don't really want to leave Logan. But
That's the important part.
I know.
Trying to be in Logan.
But it is good to have utilities and
It is good to have
services if
utilities.
you're trying to develop a property.
Yeah, whatever.
Drill a well.
That's not important.
Exactly. Who needs water and sewer?
Let's say sewer is the bigger part. Just dig a hole in the backyard.
Oh, my goodness. I will bring it back to the council for a decision.
Nobody else has, obviously, he's one of the property owners. Nobody else has complained of these property owners. They've been noticed. There's no issues. Okay. Well, I'll move we approve resolution 25-06.
I'll second it.
It's a fight. It was a fight. Yeah.
Okay.
Either.
Amy seconded it. She hasn't done it yet tonight. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Tyler, you're up.
Now he doesn't have to dig a hole.
Are you just digging a deeper hole?
I've been in one most of my life.
Hello, Tyler. Hello.
God, it's come 2 weeks in a row.
I know.
2 weeks in a row. So
in a row.
last week was the facilities plan public hearing. This week, same issue. The reduction of the multifamily impact fee from 2403 down to 1733, or 1703, excuse me, because of the reduced water usage rate in those multifamily units. So this was brought about with the rate setting committee of the wastewater treatment plant. So Smithfield, they're a little ahead of us on schedule. They've passed this. Nidley's will follow suit on Thursday. Then I'd have to check with the other communities where they're at. But so we're all moving forward on this direction.
Again, the reason that we are reducing it is there was a study done, typically multifamily units use less, 25
30%, yes.
25 to 30% less than single family per door. So again, this is a per door charge, but it will make it systematic through all the other 6 cities that
And
we
it is
serve as
only
well.
a fee that is charged upon construction.
Yes.
Yeah,
Impact
an
fee,
impact
right.
fee,
Yeah.
which is required by kind of our bond language and again.
Any other questions? This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak to this, please come to the podium, state your name, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, bring it back to the council.
I'll move for approval of ordinance 25-01.
I wasn't going to move. I was just going to say, I think it's a good thing we're lowering impact fees.
Yes, exactly.
I was going to let somebody else make the motion. I was just like, how often do you see
How can we complain?
fees go down over time?
I made that.
Yeah. I'll second you, Mark,
Oh, thank
since
you.
I'm talking.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Our next item was continued from the November 19th, 2024 meeting. Tyler, would you like to refresh us, please?
So in that meeting, we brought to you some changes in the pretreatment industrial use ordinance for pretreatment. To the major changes that the state wanted us to address in our legal authority in the ordinance is they wanted us to codify BMPs, so to become a local limit. So something like a spill plan or housekeeping and stuff, that can become enforceable, codified by our pretreatment local limit. So if you have large quantities of stuff that shouldn't go down the drain, we can say
that this is how you have to handle it, and that becomes an enforceable item. The other item was we updated our enforcement fee or compliant for a fee from the $1,000 per day for violation to $10,000 per day for violation to meet the state's, the same fee that the state can impose on us. Then we updated some other language included in there of chronic violators or violators that are repeat offenders, that we can impose that higher fine. And so we continued this in November, waiting for the state to review and approve of our revised ordinance. And so we received a letter in January, on January 15th, that gave us the green light that they approved the changes. And so now we brought it back to you.
That's what we were waiting for.
Yes, we've had a public hearing in the past, and so,
So I got the copy of the letter here. So
Cool.
perfect. Any other questions of Tyler?
Nope. The wheels of state government move slowly.
Yeah.
yes, there's.
Yes, because
Because did we do this in June?
this is an ordinance
Yeah.
23.
Yeah,
I say this
yeah,
was-
We've been doing this for
continuing for like a long time, so I
There was
would,
a little mailing mishap between our offices and the state's offices, so then it does. The state has one pre-treatment coordinator, and so she runs a pre-treatment program like Logan City does for different communities in the state, plus review all these types of things for all the communities that have their own. So there's pretty much one lady at the state there taking care of all this, so it does move slowly.
she's busy.
Yeah,
She's busy.
well, as evidenced by the fact that we saw it first in 2023.
That's right.
I say this has been continued since before I was even on the council.
I will move for acceptance of ordinance 23-31.
And I'll second it since Mike doesn't hear what I'm saying.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye from me, too. Our last public hearing this evening is Rich.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks for wearing the tie, too. You look snappy.
And you can come anytime. He's not listening.
I don't think he's coming next week.
Tyler, you can come anytime.
I appreciate that. I might have
I don't think he's going to come next.
I'm going to make him come and do the opening.
He's coming.
You can always say no to that.
I know. I don't know if Teresa asked, maybe not.
So items to consider: the first request to appropriate $88,071 for alcohol enforcement funds received from the state of Utah toward police alcohol shifts for the most part. And then request to appropriate $37,244 for police overtime reimbursement shifts from various entities, including the state.
Any questions of Rich? This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to make a comment regarding this proposed resolution, please come to the podium, state your name, 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back.
I'll move we approve resolution 25-05.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. So we have no workshop items. Do we have any other considerations?
I know it was mentioned earlier by Amy, but I just think it's worth reiterating that there is a UDOT public meeting on February
Next
25th.
Tuesday.
Yep, it's a week from today, February 25th, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. At Mount Logan Middle School, and that is their public meeting regarding the Main Street Highway 91 design and redesign project they're working on.
So if you're
So,
worried about traffic
if you're about traffic
on Main Street,
That's a
or
good
the
one.
surrounding areas,
go to this meeting.
That's a good one to go to.
You'll find out what they've discussed, what they were trying to think about, and how they propose.
to fix all our problems.
Oh, no, they won't fix it.
They can help.
They can help.
They can, yeah.
But I just think it's worth reiterating. I think it'll be an important meeting.
Anything else?
Sorry,
Oh, we missed the date on that.
that is February 25th.
Next-
February 25th,
Next Tuesday,
Okay.
evening.
4:30 to
Not
6:30. February 25th, 4:30 to 6:30.
No worries.
That's all
We
I've got.
are adjourned.
Nice short meeting.
Okay.